Alright, this week we're going to be talking about topic, main idea, and details. Now, a lot of times people confuse topic and main idea because they think they're the same thing, but they're actually a little bit different. So today we're going to go into a little more detail about how they're different and how you can tell in a story which parts are which. So if we look at the top part, we have the topic. The topic is usually 1 to 2 words. Then we have our main idea. Our main idea is usually one sentence. And then we have the details. Usually there's a lot more details, so it's usually more than one sentence. It's kind of all the proof that you can find that help prove the topic. So when thinking about the topic, we know it's 1 to 2 words, but how do we find those 1 to 2 words? How do we know exactly how to find that information? Well, the topic is really who or what the text is about. So as you're reading, you're going to think of, who is this text talking about, or what is this text talking about? And then you're going to pull 1 to 2 words, and that'll be your topic. Then we have the main idea. Now, like we mentioned, the main idea is one sentence. So how do we figure out what that one sentence is going to be? Well, the way you can figure that out is by thinking about, what does the author want me to know about the topic? So after you figure out the topic and you know who or what the text is talking about, then you get to the main idea. Okay, now that you know who or what the text is about, what do they want you to know about it? And that's where you're going to give me the one sentence. Then the details. Describe or give information about the topic. Now, we've been talking about giving evidence and giving proof a lot when you're explaining your answer. That's where the details come in. So how can you prove that that is the topic, or how can you prove that that is the main idea? Give all the details that you can in the text in order to prove it, and that'll be the details that you're using. Now, not only can you use topic, main idea, and details when talking about a text, but you can also use it for pictures. So we're going to do a couple different examples today so that you can see how to find the topic, the main idea, and the details in a text and also in pictures. Topic, main idea, and details can get a little bit confusing, which is why I wanted you guys to see this like a triangle. Now, at the very top of the triangle, you see the topic, but you also notice that that's also the smallest part of the triangle. Because when looking for information, the topic is going to be the smallest amount. It's just going to be the 1 to 2 words. Then, when you look at main idea, that's kind of in the middle, because that's going to be a little bit longer. Because instead of 1 to 2 words, now you're looking at one whole sentence. And then as you can see at the very bottom, we have the details. That's the biggest portion, because when trying to prove your topic or main idea, you will need a lot of evidence to support it, which is why details is the biggest portion. Now let's go ahead and jump into the images. Like I mentioned before, you can find main idea, topic, and details in not only text but pictures as well. So we're going to take a couple seconds to look at this collage. Now here we see 5 different pictures, but they all do have something in common. Now the first part we're going to think about is the topic. Now when we went over topic, we said that the topic was 1 to 2 words, and it's who or what the text, or in this case, the images, are about. So the first thing we got to figure out is the topic. And remember, the topic is only 1 to 2 words. And it is also who or what, in this case, the images are about. So when we look at these 5 images, what do they all have in common? And I'm sure you guys probably figure it out. But in each picture, you see kids. So the topic of these images are kids. Now we're going to think about the main idea. Now, the main idea is just a little bit longer. So the main idea is one whole sentence, and it is, what does the author want us to know about who is in these pictures? So here we see kids, but what do we notice about all of these kids? We can look at it and we say, okay, it looks like some are playing sports. It looks like some are just playing with each other. So all the kids are playing. And when they're playing, let's look at what their faces look like. They all look pretty happy. So our main idea, which is going to be our one sentence, can be, kids have fun when they play. Now, the longer part is providing the details now. Remember, the details are kind of how you prove that you pick the correct topic and how you can prove that your main idea is correct. So we can do that by just describing what we see. At the very bottom, we see a child who is smiling as he is playing with the rubber balls. Above him, we see another child in a red sweater swinging from what appears to be monkey bars. And he is smiling as he's doing that, which means that he probably is not feeling sad. Instead, he's probably feeling happy. Across from that picture, we see two children, one in a blue shirt and the other in a yellow shirt. And they are playing with water. And as they're playing with water, we can see that they are smiling and probably even laughing. On top of that picture, we have two girls who appear to be at a park. Now think about it. When you go to a park, you probably feel really happy because you get to run around and play on all the different equipment there. Then we go to that first picture. In that first picture, we see children playing a sport. And you know that when you play a sport, you feel happy because you get to play with other people. So all of these details, which are just really descriptions of what we see, helped us prove that our topic is about kids because in all of these pictures we do see kids. Our main idea was that kids have fun playing, and in each of these pictures we see that they're playing and we see that they're smiling and they're enjoying themselves. We're going to practice topic, main idea, and details again, but this time using a different picture. So using this picture, what do you think the topic is? And remember, the topic is who or what the images are all about. When looking at these images, you probably look to see what they were all doing. But then you probably also noticed that everyone was doing something different. But you thought about, who are all these pictures about? And they're not all the same person, but they do all have kids in the picture. So the topic for this collage is kids. Now that we know what our topic is and we know that our topic is kids, now we're going to move on to the next part. And the next part is main idea. So like we mentioned earlier, main idea is one sentence, and that is what the author wants us to know about the topic. Since we know that the topic is kids, what does the author want us to know about these kids? If we look at all the different pictures, they're not all doing the same thing. And actually, all the kids look really different too. So the main idea for this collage is all kids are different. Now the last part is figuring out the details. So how can we prove that all kids are different? When we look at all the images, we can see that all the kids have a different skin color. And they all have different hair as well. Some have straight hair, some have curly hair, some have long hair, and some have short hair. You see some kids that look very serious and others that look very happy. You even see one child, if you look very closely at the bottom left corner, he's in a wheelchair. And other kids are just sitting down. Other kids, you can tell they're just standing up. But none of these kids really look like each other. Now we're going to see how we can practice topic, main idea, and details when reading a text this time. So let's look at this text. It says, flowers blossom in the spring and summer. There are many kinds of flowers. Some are small and others are big. They come in many different colors as well, such as red, pink, orange, white, yellow, etc. You have to be careful when picking flowers because some have thorns. Roses are beautiful flowers, but they have thorns that could prick you and make you bleed. Other flowers do not have thorns and are much easier to pick. When looking at this text, remember we are trying to find the topic first. The topic is usually 1 to 2 words, and it's who or what the text is talking about. In this case, as we're reading it, we keep saying, flowers blossom, many kinds of flowers. Some are big, some are small. Some flowers have thorns. Some flowers are easy to pick. So we can tell that this whole thing is talking about flowers. So our topic is going to be flowers. The next part is we have to figure out, well, what is the main idea of this? And remember, the main idea is what the author wants you to know about the topic. Now here we know our topic already. We know it's flowers because everything that they keep talking about in this text always goes back to something about flowers. But now we want to figure out what the author is trying to tell us about flowers. Now here we see that some are small, some are big, some are different colors, some have thorns, some do not, some are easy to pick, some don't. So they keep talking about lots of different things about flowers. So if we look in the text, if we look at that second sentence, it actually says that. It says there are many kinds of flowers. So that is going to be our main idea. So now we have our topic. We know our topic is flowers because everything in this text is talking about flowers. And then our main idea, again, is what about flowers? Well, everything that we see in this text talks about how there are many different kinds of flowers. So in that second sentence, they actually gave us the main idea. Our topic is flowers, and what about flowers? There are many kinds of flowers. Now we need to provide all the details. What are all the details in this text that help prove that there are many kinds of flowers? Well, now that we know that our main idea is there are many kinds of flowers, now we have to prove it. How do we know that there are many kinds of flowers? Let's keep reading. Some are small and some are big. Well, that right there is a detail that tells you how there are many kinds of flowers because they're telling you that some flowers are small and that other ones are big. So that right there is your first detail. Now that we found that first detail, now we have to find another detail that proves that there are many kinds of flowers. So what we can do is we can just keep reading. They come in many different colors as well, such as red, pink, orange, white, yellow, etc. Well, guess what? That is also a detail that helps prove that there are many kinds of flowers because they're telling you that they even come in different colors. We're going to continue reading to see if we can find more details that prove that there are many kinds of flowers. Let's read the next part. You have to be careful when picking flowers because some have thorns. Does that tell us how there are different kinds of flowers? It does because they told us that one very specific part. They told us that some have thorns. So if some have thorns, that means some don't. So that shows us how they are different. Now we're going to keep reading to see if we can find more details. Roses are beautiful flowers, but they have thorns that could prick you and make you bleed. Does that tell us how they are different? Kind of, but we already mentioned that because we already talked about how some have thorns. So we can't use that part, but let's keep reading. Other flowers do not have thorns and are much easier to pick. Does that tell us how there are different kinds of flowers? It does, because before we only highlighted the part that said some have thorns. But now we're finding another way about how they're different because not all of them have thorns, only some of them do. So we're going to highlight that other detail, other flowers do not have thorns. So now as we look at this text, we can see our topic was flowers. Our main idea was there are many kinds of flowers. And these are all the ways that we prove that there are many kinds of flowers. We said some are small and others are big. They come in many different colors. Some have thorns. Other flowers do not have thorns. So this is how we used our details to prove our main idea and then go back to our topic as well. And now here's going to be our last example. Again, we're looking at text and we're trying to find the topic, main idea, and details that help support it. So we're going to read this text. It says, I did not like school today. Ben was being mean to me, but I didn't do anything to him. I am always nice to everyone in class because my mom told me that it is important to be nice to others. She always said, how you treat people is how they are going to treat you. When you are nice to people, people will be nice to you. Maybe Ben was having a bad day, and that is why he was acting like that. I will give him another chance tomorrow, because maybe he will have a better day. It is important to be nice to others, because what if no one is nice to them? They might be acting mean because they are sad about something. Being nice to someone might make them happy again. So after reading that, we need to think about, what is the topic? Remember, the topic is who or what this text is about. And usually These are words that are repeated all the time, all the time. Like in the last example that we saw that they kept bringing up the word flowers, 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 flowers. So we knew that the topic was flowers. Here, we're going to look for something that keeps being repeated all the time. When looking for the topic, we know the topic is who or what the text is about. And we know that they talked about Ben being mean, but they only mentioned Ben twice. And remember, the topic is something that gets repeated a lot. So it's either who or what the text is about. So while some of you may think, oh, the topic is Ben because they're talking about him, they are talking about him, but not actually a lot. They only mention him twice. They actually keep saying one word repeatedly. And if we look at the text, we see that that word is actually the word nice. They said, I am always nice to everyone in class. It is important to be nice to others. When you are nice to people, people will be nice to you. It is important to be nice to others because what if no one is nice to them? Being nice to someone might make them happy again. So as we can see, being nice is the topic because it's what keeps getting repeated over and over and over again. Now that we know that the topic is be nice, we need to look for our main idea. And again, our main idea is just one sentence that tells us what the author wants us to know about the topic. So we know the topic is be nice. So what does the author want us to know about being nice? Now, something that the author keeps repeating about being nice is how it is important to be nice to others. Because like they mentioned, if you're nice to someone, they will be nice to you. It is important to be nice to people because you don't know if they're feeling sad about something and maybe that's why they're acting mean. Just by you being nice to them, they might start being happy again. So the main idea here is that it is important to be nice to others. Now that we got through the hardest part of this, which was finding our topic, which we found to be nice to others, and then our main idea, which is it is important to be nice to others. Now we have to find all the details that help prove why it is important to be nice to others. So we can start from the very top and then work our way down to see as many details as we can find. I did not like school today. Does that tell us why it is important to be nice to others? No, it doesn't. Ben was being mean to me, but I didn't do anything to him. Does that help explain to us why it's important to be nice to others? No, it doesn't. So we're just going to keep reading. I am always nice to everyone in class because my mom told me that it is important to be nice to others. Does that tell us why it is important to be nice to others? No, it just told us that her mom told her that it's important to be nice to others, but it did not tell us why it is important to be nice to others. So we're going to keep reading. She always said, how you treat people is how they are going to treat you. When you are nice to people, people will be nice to you. Does that tell us why it's important to be nice to others? Yes, it does, because it's telling us that if you're nice to somebody, they're going to be nice to you too. So it tells us that how you treat people is how they are going to treat you. So that is an important detail that helps prove why it is important to be nice to others. Let's keep reading to see if we can find more details. Now remember, when finding details, we're not trying to find a bunch of them. We're just trying to find the most important ones. So let's keep reading to see if we can find another one. Maybe Ben was having a bad day, and that is why he was acting like that. Does that tell us why it's important to be nice to others? Not really, it just tells us that he was having a bad day, and that's probably why he was acting mean. I will give him another chance tomorrow because maybe he will have a better day. Does that tell us why it's important to be nice to others? Again, no, it doesn't. It just kind of tells us that she's going to give him another chance. And let's keep reading. It is important to be nice to others. Because what if no one is nice to them? Does that tell us why it is important to be nice to others? Kind of, but we already used that part for our main idea. So we're going to keep reading. They might be acting mean because they are sad about something. Does that tell us why it's important to be nice to others? It kind of starts explaining it, but it doesn't tell us a good reason just yet, but it's almost there. So let's keep reading. Being nice to someone might make them happy again. Does that tell us why being nice to others is important? Yes, it does, because now it told us that if you are nice to someone, and they're feeling sad, you could be the reason why they're happy again. So that is an important reason as to why being nice to others is important.